So yeah, let's jump into it, man. Thank you. Welcome to the Lead Up Podcast. So excited back with another episode. Before I get to my guest, just want to shout out to Jolly New Media. Shout out to Nate doing the recording, everything. I wish I was in the studio, but hey, life happens. But we still gonna make it happen because I love this guy that I'm about to just connect with, and you got to hear more about his story and his experiences, and he's gonna drop some gems. But for those that are first time, welcome to the podcast where we connect with dope and diverse leaders to learn more about their leadership journey and how you can level up your leadership. And for those that are returning, man, thank you all so much. I love the feedback, the support, just tuning in, watching. Just been so exciting to just get the love and just love what I'm doing here. So without further ado, I need to introduce this man who I would say is going to put out Bruce Buffer out of a job, right? He's gonna be the new commentator for UFC very soon.
I received that.
But I want to introduce a good friend of mine, Nehemiah Goudeauxx.
Right.
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming up to the Lead Up Podcast officially.
Man, so glad to be on, man. I really wanted to be on a long time ago because I'm a big fan of you, Renato. I am somebody who loves you, of course, and works with you, of course, and we do great things together. We've done great things together, and we'll continue to do great things together. And when I saw you doing this, I was like, ooh.
Right.
I said, ooh, so I'm glad to have now qualified to been on the Lead Up.
It's official now. It's official.
I need my certificate ASAP.
Yes.
Man, thank you.
For sure, man. And again, just big congrats to you and the wife, man. Huge news on the baby. So that's exciting.
One of the greatest things I could imagine. Yeah. Everybody, I'm having a baby. I'm so glad to hear my wife is pregnant and healthy and strong. And me and her have been on a wild journey with that.
Yeah.
Just a lot of complications when it comes to pregnancy and childbirth. And, shout out to all the mothers out there who are fearless and just excited about bringing life into this world. Yeah. Love you guys. You got our full support.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Man, let's jump into it, man. I'm excited. Been looking forward to this. Just kind of getting more into your story. I know we've connected on and off throughout the years. As you mentioned, we've done things together, conferences, events, and just hanging out. But man, just want to dive a little bit more into who is Nehemiah Goudeauxx. So if you could just share with the world, man, just who is Nehemiah? Give us a little bit about your background, your upbringing. What is your story, man? Just give us something.
Okay. Born in Sacramento, California, 916 to the fullest.
There you go.
I call myself a Sacramento king. I am that. We have a story that's very complex. I have a story that's very complex. I am born and raised in Rio Linda. I am the son of one of the greater pastors in Sacramento. We have a very large multicultural congregation here in Sacramento. We're 42 years old.
Wow.
I am his baby son. I am the one who's taking over, if that's anything you can really say. That's a bold statement, but I'm going for it. Yeah. I believe that I am a 3%er, called to a high purpose by an awesome God, and so I am a leader. I oversee 6 locations of ministry at this point. I sit on 3 boards. I am also doing some land developing, if you could believe that.
Okay.
Currently in Utah, we're getting ready to develop 20 acres out there. Nehemiah is a very complex person, and I am, like Renato said, very much so in love with what I do. I do ministry. I am somebody who loves impacting people, helping people. So the greatest title I could ask to have is that of a servant. I am that. I serve everywhere I go. I'm a blessing. I try to be a blessing everywhere that I go. I believe that I'm blessed in whatever sense of or prospering in whatever area. I'm blessed to be a blessing. And so I love helping everybody that I get around, anybody that I
Mm-hmm.
get close to, anybody who, shares my space. I am going to do my best to bless you and be that blessing. So, like I said, I mean, Nehemiah is just a kid from Sacramento who loves God and continues to use all of his talents, gifts, abilities, even my Bruce Buffer voice for for what needs to be built in this city and around the world. So,
Man, that's awesome. And I'm gonna definitely dive into the your energy and your presence that you bring into the spaces, because again, that's just something contagious and something that attracts a lot of people, and it has created many opportunities. But before we get to that, you mentioned complex, right? And this complexity. I'm curious, man. Just maybe tap into that complex a little bit, because people hear, wait, did he just say he's a pastor's kid? So that
right.
means his life was paved gold. Everything was just set up.
Okay.
Oh no, did I get that wrong?
Whoa. Okay. Sure.
So maybe you
One
can
of my
share a little
great
bit about
friends.
those bumps along the way for you
Ooh. Okay. Well, let's just talk
that
about.
you're willing to share, of course.
You know what? I'm an open book. You know what? Everything is in the past, so now I'm
Yeah.
very much so there. But I think everybody thinks that pastors' kids are these terrible people. Maybe they hear about pastors' kids.
Right. The
Um,
PKs, as they are known.
yeah, and then the other side of it is like you said, they just think the streets are paved with gold or whatever. Like I said, the complexity for me was that my dad just wasn't a pastor. He was like a mega pastor, is a mega pastor, very large congregation in Sacramento. A lot of leaders have come out of his ministry.
Yeah.
So it's just all of that, that complexity there.
Yeah.
I grew up around a lot of people. I've been introduced to personalities,
Mm,
character traits, character flaws, things in people that you see when you're exposed to a large group of
yeah.
them young. And so, I believe that because of that, I saw people that lived, a lifestyle that I continue to see as broken character. And I used to watch certain
Mm,
people, and I developed what I considered to be a lack of understanding, because I was watching broken people maneuver in the kingdom, and I wasn't watching always the healthy people. So the healthy
mm,
people weren't my example. So they weren't, so
man.
I was following a lot of wrong people. Um so what ended up happening was that I got away from God um about 20 years old. I had lived for God up until I was 18, I want to say, wholeheartedly. I won't go into everything, but
Hmm.
I was the like poster child for like Christian children, basically, and I just liked having fun. I loved people. I loved being around loud groups.
Hmm.
I loved energy, and so I got into the club. I got into the club scene.
Hmm.
I started throwing parties. I started bringing celebrities to Sacramento to these like nightclubs, and I wasn't even old enough to get into, but I had the money. I had
Mm,
the ability. So I was working through an older gentleman, and he pretty much would facilitate things for me. And either way, I got off track. I got into a very selfish, egotistical mindset. Um, I was all about a dollar, and I
mhm.
was kind of infatuated with that. So I was, now that the Federal Bureau of Investigation doesn't care, I was doubling my money by selling drugs inside of the night scene.
Wow.
Um, I made a lot of bad decisions during
Hmm.
that time. I ended up taking my operation statewide. I ended up going to other states doing the same thing. Uh,
Wow.
and I was still calling myself,
Hmm.
a good kid, a Christian kid, Christian man, but I was making all these crazy decisions. And so I got out into a place out in the Midwest that was not playing with anything that I was doing.
Yeah.
And I ended up falling, if I could say it like that, into a crazy situation where basically I was looking at maybe 10 or 15 years,
Wow.
um, 10 or 15 years. But my close friend didn't snitch on me. And so I have a very close friend of mine still doing prison time. He took the rap for me, uh,
Mm.
and is currently doing 17 years in a prison. And um, he did it just to save me. He felt like I was or am valuable to the culture, the my
Yeah.
city, my state, my family. And so I'm very much so a person who is grateful to just be. Like, the reason why my energy is always like, 10
Yeah.
to 10 to 50,
Yeah.
because I'm just so glad to be me and glad to really just be out
Yeah.
of the bondage and and the things that I could be in if I didn't have love around me and
Yeah.
people I had went the long way for, go the long way for me. And
Hmm.
so so like I said, I didn't have to ask anybody to do anything. Everybody
Hmm.
did it
Wow.
willingly. And like I said, I'm very much so a blessed man, and I am, like I said, continually blessing anybody
Hmm.
who's ever done anything for me uh,
Yeah.
because of that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, so yeah, I got a crazy story I can get into, but I mean,
Yeah.
obviously that's crazy,
No, for sure. Yeah.
So I kind of leave it
No,
be.
for sure. And what and thank you for sharing that, because I know there's probably more that details that we can we'll leave
Yes,
that for a different time. But
yes,
I'm curious, like, what was the turning point? Because I'm even thinking, or people are thinking, I can't really resonate with being a pastor's kid, or even being of the same faith, or going what you went through. But they can. You mentioned the keywords off track. I think a lot of people can get off track in their lives, and they time has flown by and they realize, how did I get here? Right.
yes,
And
yeah,
they're questioning, like, they're looking around people that they're in, environments that they're in. They're like, how did I get from where I used to be doing all these great things to now, man, like, what happened? So I'm curious, maybe again, maybe to that transition of what was the turning point for you now to, like, all right, let me leave this here and turn. What was the pivoting point, I guess, for you?
The pivoting point was destruction. So when I started seeing the destructive pieces, like people around me, like obviously, headed to certain places they didn't want to be. Um, when I started seeing when I started seeing like children not being able to be around their dad because, I mean, daddy's got to go serve time.
Hmm.
It was the mayhem, the uh man, it was truly the cold truth of
Yeah.
daddy's not coming home again, and we
Hmm.
don't know when it is,
Yeah.
that really turned my life around. Having somebody that saw my leadership or
Yeah.
saw who I was as so important that they would lay their life down for
Hmm.
me. That wasn't, Jesus,
Right.
that turned me, that changed me. That was one of the breaking points for me. And so I want to just answer your question and
Hmm.
just say, um, man, the hardest thing for, I believe, anybody who's heading on a certain
Hmm.
track to do is stay on track. You know the
Yep.
the roads to destruction are wider
Hmm.
than the roads to your destiny. So I feel, um, it's hard to stay on track when you don't have the vision. So my big
Mm,
word is
yeah.
vision. I believe that you have to remind yourself of where you're headed
Hmm.
constantly and who you are, and don't get into the place where you start letting distractions get you so far that you can't get back. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay because you will get distracted, but
Yeah.
get right back. Don't allow yourself to
Hmm.
create a home where you're only supposed to just be renting a house. It's like you need to just know that
Yeah.
you're on your grind for a reason.
Yeah.
Stay on it. Remind yourself of why. I lost my why, and
Mm,
I lost myself. I lost my identity. I lost my understanding of who I really am,
yeah.
and that broke my focus. That broke my integrity down. My character went with
Hmm.
it. And so, like I said, write your vision. Make sure you understand where
Yeah.
you're heading clearly, so that even when it's time to communicate the vision to people around you, they understand everything and where you're headed clearly. Don't allow yourself to ever be the person that does not be able to communicate where
Yeah.
you guys are going,
Yeah.
what you guys are doing, why you're doing it, thoroughly.
That's so good, man. That's so good, man. I love what you said, even just earlier on too about exposure. I'm huge on exposure. I know you had mentioned exposure to folks that were unhealthy, but then also the exposure to healthy folks. And I want to kind of hone in more on the healthy guys and people
Right.
that you've probably been around, the privilege of just being in a network and community of folks that are doing amazing things, right? And I'm curious to hear from just from your experience, things that you've seen or heard, just being around folks and rubbing shoulders. Is like, what are some of those successful attributes that those leaders have as you're around them? Like, what are some of those main things that have stuck with you, or you tried to kind of like, yeah, I want to take some of that and implement it to my life because I see that as something that's very successful that most people need to have in their lives. Does that
Oh,
make sense?
oh, it does. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, of course, clear as day. Um, yeah, I've watched a lot of great, and I could name some names, but I feel like name dropping
Right.
is pretty. Um, it's something powerful about a man of discipline. Uh,
Mm,
what I've noticed is that discipline is an attribute of all those great men, or women. I should also include that. They have always, very much so focused on uh, the priorities. They're very orderly.
mm,
They have, these regiments that I love. I look at
mhm,
people's regiments. I believe that, you know, um, people don't really determine their future. Uh,
mm. Oh
uh,
yeah, come on. Yep. Speak on that.
okay. People don't really determine their future. Uh, their decision making determines their future, right?
Mm,
So, if I could say it like this, um, I see a lot of people that they are decided. I've decided, I see them, they have decided to make sure that their habits coincide with where they're going and what they're doing. So I should say this: people don't decide their future, their habits
mm,
decide their future.
yeah.
And I feel like I've seen some of the greatest men alive, women alive. Their habits were, I'm going to read while everybody else is over there at the concert or at the event,
Hmm.
having the function. I'm going to invest in myself. I
Yeah.
believe that they have this understanding or revelation that they are their greatest investment. Um,
Mm,
and I believe we all need to hear that more often.
yeah.
You are your greatest investment. There is nothing more valuable in what we know as life, as investing in you. There's nothing more great than investing in you. So I feel, like I've seen some great leaders fall off too
Hmm.
because they forgot. that they were a great investment, and they invested into other people and other things, and they forgot all about what they were put here to do. And
Hmm.
so I always go back to that is just I see great men and women. They are very much so always committed to habitually doing things
Hmm.
in a regiment. They are very, like I said, focused on their habits, making sure that they have the greater habits. And like I said, I've seen them flourish. I've
Hmm.
seen thousands of wrap around them. I've seen stadiums packed just to watch them. I've seen millions of dollars pour in, if you will,
Yeah.
their causes or whatever it may be, just
Right.
because of their style of leading. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. People don't decide their futures; habits decide their future. So
That
powerful, man. So
man,
powerful. So powerful. So
ah,
powerful, man.
that's big. That's big.
Man, one thing as I mentioned, it kind of teased about your Bruce Buffer and communication, but your energy and your presence, man. It was so evident. When I first met you, and as I got to know you over the years, man, that was just always that's a gift, right? And I kind of want to, I kind of want you to speak into that a little bit in general too, of how you were able to hone in on this gift that you have,
Okay.
and then maybe share with folks of like why, like how you show up is so important, right? Because a lot of the people that tune in, or what I'm trying to get across is like whether they're in their workspaces or if they want to start a business and different things, like how you show up is so key, right? Because you can't do things on your own. You need people, you need supporters, and you need community, you need investors, right? And all these different things.
Right.
And how you show up as an individual, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, whatever your title position that you're seeking for, your presence and that energy is very key. I'm
Right.
curious to hear more about what you think about that.
Oh man. I think my biggest thing is I'm very unselfish. Um, I know that's not something you expect to hear, but I realize that everybody's going through a lot. Um,
Mm,
so it's like, why look at the downside of everything when we can look at the upside? So
hmm.
my energy really comes from having been in a lot of dark places.
Yeah.
I've just seen a lot of pain, suffering. I've been in a place where I struggle with pain and suffering more frequently than most people might think. I think,
Mm,
like you said it before, like it's like silver or gold streets where you are. But to me,
yeah.
anybody who's known me personally knows my situation right now,
Hmm.
knows who I am right now, and so they understand that I'm struggling, and my struggle may be different, maybe in a way, but I'm struggling and going through painful situations right now. And even if you see me with a bunch of energy
Yeah.
and a bunch of charisma or whatever it may be, I'm
Hmm.
still very much so just looking at the glass uh the way I'm supposed to be looking at the glass, because like I said, I'm not the only one going through
Yeah.
something serious right now.
Hmm.
And for me, it's almost it's just a perspective. It's
Yeah.
I see people as people who need love. They need attention. They're people who they long for somebody to be able to change their attitude or help change their mood or the atmosphere.
Hmm.
And so I really pride myself on my perspective, because it doesn't matter where I go, I'm me.
Hmm.
I could be on the stage and be me. I could be in the back
Hmm.
room and be me. And it's really how I see things is the biggest thing for me. I see it as we're all going through things, and we need to look at the sky instead of the floor. Let's just
Hmm.
enjoy what we can enjoy. Let's make the most out of a day or an hour or a conference or
Right.
service or a function or an event. Um, we all need that type of support. We all need that type of encouragement. I consider myself an encourager.
Hmm.
So,
Big time.
because I remember lifting weights, man. Obviously I was an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, and I remember me being able to push out that last set on the rack. When I was maybe throwing up, I won't say what number it was, but on
Hey,
the
you can just throw it out real quick.
and and somebody encouraged you. Somebody just told you, man, bro, you got it in you. There's something deep in there. Go ahead and grab it and pull it out. You can make it. You're stronger than you think you are.
Right.
It was that changed the atmosphere, my work ethic, my attitude. And so I felt like I bring that to wherever I go to. I bring that same spirit, which is you can make it.
Yeah.
You're stronger than you think you are. You're loved in places you don't know you're loved. The people who are talking about you don't actually outweigh the people who are cheering you on. So don't worry about who doesn't like or won't like or doesn't care for who you are. Just continue to be the light and glow as hard as you can. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Dump out the haterade, right?
I mean, right on the coach's head. I mean, it outweighs, man. The people
that's
who
real.
speak great about you outweigh the ones that are speaking negative. And who cares what a hater's got to say anyway? It just it's what I mean. I'm living in their head rent free. And I didn't even do nothing, I was just doing what I was called to do. And so, like I said, it's a blessing to me to know that I do shift energy or shift atmosphere.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a rapper, when I was younger, you can ask anybody around me. I still rap to this day. I mean, it's just a part of me. I freestyle constantly.
There you go.
But nobody knows I have that gift. Like I don't think maybe people do like that are close to me, but I love that gift in me, and I've never actually released it like I should have. But it's never too late. I got some of the greatest musicians in the world around me. I mean, I live with basically, or I'm at the office every day with like a Brandon P. I'm around.
Shout out to Brandon P.
Antonio Smith, Mission, all these different ones, Miles Minnick. I mean, I just have these, people, and they're like drawn to me. It's like they almost know there's something inside of me musically that they really need to grab onto or be around. And so like I said, I really wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to be an entertainer. I wanted to be the reason why the the club went bananas. I wanted to be I wanted to be better than I was gonna say, I don't want to use his name, but high energy level, climbing off the rafters. I mean, the stadium going absolutely crazy. That's how I see everything. So
man, that's awesome, man. And one thing I've loved and appreciated, as I go through the IG and see where your next destination is or what plate of food you're eating and whining and dining, man, I think part of that is, treating yourself and taking care of yourself with everything that you're doing, right? You're saying the number of ministries, land development, all these different things. I think it's great that you still take time to do that. Maybe speak to that, because I know there's, unfortunately, in some ways, there's this hustle culture generation. Sometimes I gotta grind. I'm not gonna sleep. And okay, maybe shout out to those that want to, but it's like, when's the time you get to rest? When's the time you get to recharge? When's the time you get to connect with your people, right? So I'm curious to hear, like, just what do you do practically to kind of unwind, to recharge? What are those things that you're doing practically, man?
Wow. And I don't know if you ever noticed this, Nato, but you don't see me do almost anything but that on my IG.
That is true.
Right?
Is that intentional?
It's intentional. Oh, no doubt. Oh, no doubt. Because
I'm curious now.
Personally, anybody who knows me close knows that I'm a child of God, obviously. I've been in ministry my whole life, right? This whole, and so the one thing that I always saw was people basically being like online, right? And they were always that online. And
I gotcha.
And And I love that. You know, for me, that's awesome. And I know at some point in time, you know, the world is gonna want to see more of that part of who I am. But right now, I really do feel like people need to see um the other side of my life. Okay. If you see me out anytime, you know what I do, you know what I'm about. Um, and but what you don't see is what I show you. So where you know it's like I'm only showing you what you would not ever,
Gotcha.
you know, see if you don't follow Nehemiah Goudeauxx, like Nehemiah's like page.
Yeah.
And so you know, I very much so am committed to my wife and us. You know, I've always dreamt of treating my wife like I'm
Yeah.
treating her now. You know,
Man.
I've been making preparations and plans for this day, like or these days, and so it's what everybody sees now is like what I was planning 5-6 years ago. You know,
Wow.
uh,
Ooh, don't miss that.
okay, because you know that's the goal right there. You know, to plan it out and to know,
Yeah.
like even with my schedule now, I know that I'm gonna have conferences this week. I know that I'm gonna have engagements next week. But
Right.
you know, I'm already looking, okay, where in the schedule
Yeah.
do I get to take care of myself and where am I able to
That's so
make sure
good.
my wife understands that she is so important with all of this going on, that she's not the on the back burner or somebody I don't want to be around or spend time with
Yeah.
or you know travel with. You know, I get different, you know, times where my wife, she may, you know, just be like, babe, you know, you're just going a little too
hmm
hard, you know.
hmm
And I can tell, she can tell. That's what I love about her.
Yeah.
She can tell when I'm like up to here, like
hmm
he knows, like, oh no, you need a break. The way you responded to that is not
hmm
in your leadership, like your
mm
leadership standard.
hmm
And so you know, if you're responding like that, it's
Yeah.
time to take a break. You know, and
Mm.
so she'll you know, she's been a great gift to me as
Yeah.
far as helping me, you know, just to find new places to go,
hmm
new experiences. You know,
Yeah.
me and one of my great friends, Damien,
Yes,
we
sir.
like,
Shout out to Dave.
you know what I mean? We love to find places to
Yes.
go and ways to
Yeah.
experience new things and, you know, make sure our wives are experiencing new and exciting things. It keeps life exciting, you know, and
hmm
that's one of my biggest things. If I could say anything, it's just that I want to always make sure my life is exciting. I know
That's
everything
good.
else I can do all of that and I
hmm
do it. But you know, I want to always wake up with that same fire that
Yeah. Yeah.
there's so much more to life. There's so much more to do. There's so much more to see. You know, I
Yeah.
don't want to get trapped. I've had a village mentality, and I don't know if you know
hmm
that
Yep.
village mentality where I just want to stay in the village and just be
hmm
in the village all
hmm
the time. But there's just so much more out there that I haven't experienced in life, and so I'm always going after that.
hmm
You know, I'm chasing after what I have not done or where I have not done it at. You
Yeah.
know, the biggest thing is I haven't had sushi in Japan. You know, like, and I'm looking
It's
forward
fire.
to that. You know, hey, like, you know, I just that's the type of stuff. It's
I
like I
got you.
want to eat pasta in
hmm
Italy.
hmm
I
hmm
want to be right there, maybe Lake Como. You know, just kind of doing my shuffle. I want to, you know,
Yeah.
ride the boats in Venice. You know, it's things
Yeah.
like that that kind of make sure I don't, you know, always uh, try to show people just an image. Like
hmm
I hate, and excuse the word hate. I hate you,
hmm
but you know, I don't like when people create these almost like fake images of themselves.
hmm
They're hard to live up to, Nato.
Yeah.
Like if you're not 100% completely yourself, you're gonna get tired of trying to be who you thought up
Mm,
one moment in your life. You know, I think of it like there's so many decades
mm,
that you're going to change in. why try to put like a cap on
Mm. Yep.
where you are right now, what you
Yeah.
think of right now, and how you believe right now? I just really feel like there's so much more growth. Like you know what I really don't like, Nato, is
Mm.
when people like just sprouted out the ground in growth and they can tell you all about it, but you put 3 days out of the ground, you're just a new sprout.
Right. Yeah.
And go through some things first, a couple
Mm.
winters, a couple summers,
Yeah.
some falls. When fall gets around here and you don't look like
Mhm.
are you still going to be okay?
Yeah.
Do you really understand who you are?
Mhm.
I feel like that. I really don't like when unproven people are
Yeah.
able to talk about certain things. It's like,
Mm.
go through something first, grow through some things first, and then come talk to me. But if you ain't been through nothing, or you
Right.
ain't, if you ain't had a couple winters and falls in your life,
Yeah.
I don't really want to, hear about you just coming out the ground and all that you know about growth, so
For all my Sprout listeners, that was a
yeah.
message for y'all.
Yeah. Go where the gold is. Go where the people have been proven.
Mm.
They're not just novice. I know some people can go big in their younger years,
Yeah.
but can you go for the full 4 quarters? I don't want you to
Mm.
be a first quarter player and then you're no
Come
good
on.
for the second, third, and fourth. You got to be able to go the long way.
Yeah.
So, my biggest thing in leadership is longevity. How long
Yeah.
can you lead? How much fruit actually comes out of you leading? Are you a transactional leader, or are you
Mm.
a transformational leader? You
Mhm.
there's so much more that we need to discover before we just turn into teachers.
Yeah.
Uh,
Whew.
Man,
Okay.
yes. Anyway, I'll shut up.
No, hey, no, I want you to, and as I'm trying to put that listener mindset right now, because like I'm hearing what you're saying, Nehemiah. I'm stuck, or I want to take that first step. If you are that person, right? If you're gonna put their shoes on right today and say, I want to take that first, what's like a practical step that they can do today, this week, sometime they're like, I'm ready to make that decision, as you were saying earlier. What's that decision? Or if you can go back in time, what would you be telling this person?
Number one, desire. What do you really desire? Um, is the desire you have yours, or is it somebody else's? Is it something that you just kind of like?
That's real.
you know Second word is, I guess, decision. The word decision. You really making a quality decision? Like, make quality decisions.
Mm.
A quality decision is a decision from which there's no retreat. There's no reason to go back on it because you already verified all the variables, and it's a quality decision. Make quality decisions all the time. I stand by that.
Yeah.
I think you're going to need a heck of a lot of determination. Um, it's going to get cold some winters. Those falls are tough. When the warmth of your leaves leave you.
Mhm.
That's a big deal. And I
Mhm.
don't want to use a lot of metaphors, but
Right.
leaves obviously fall off in fall.
Yeah.
And who you thought was around you may not be around you. Long.
Mhm.
And so you got to be determined. You kind of got to wake up every morning on purpose and do exactly what you were called to do, with a certain type of fervor. But
Yeah.
my other thing is, if you're just starting up, discipline yourself.
Yeah.
Um, like I was saying earlier, great leaders very much so focused on the discipline. Discipline really changes everything. That regimen.
100%. Yep.
You are a great investment. Make sure that you're, taking care of yourself. That's a big thing for me. Yeah, the other thing is you need role models. You need
Yep.
examples. You need people, like I said, who are quality people, who are verified, and they check off that box of they have done it, and they've done it for a while.
Mm.
I do see a lot of get rich type of
Mhm.
waves around, and
Yeah.
2-3 years later people are flat back where they started,
Yeah.
because they still don't understand it's a mentality that they're fighting. It's not it's not a position that they're dealing with, it's a mentality.
Yeah.
You can be wealthy and still be broke.
Mm-hmm.
You can be broke and be wealthy. You know, it's
Yeah.
really just you understanding that, you know, your bank account doesn't make anything.
Mm.
You make everything. And so
Yeah.
you know, I want you to be able to admire people who, like I said, have strong families, and you know, their
Mm-hmm.
family isn't broken apart. They're,
Yeah.
you know, they have a legacy that's tarnished, and doesn't have all of that, you know, scandal attached.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those type of people, you know, that will be able to lead you and your family
Yeah.
into success because
Yeah.
they went through everything that there is to go through, and they could share that
Yeah.
wisdom with us.
Yeah.
So my other thing is just make sure you study. You know, me and Dame really was the first person to really like push
Yeah.
me or say anything to me. Um, you know, make sure you're studying, make sure you're reading. You know, my dad always used to say leaders are readers. You know,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
if you're not reading, you know, you're really depleting and defeating your efforts, you know, because
Mm.
you're not actually preparing or planning to do anything in success if you're not equipping yourself. So make sure
Jeez.
you're studying constantly. And then, like I said, the last thing is just practice. You know,
Mhm.
I always think about Allen Iverson when I say that. But you know, but practice is more than what you think it is.
Mhm.
Repetition is still the father of learning, and if you
Mm.
on learning anything, you're gonna have to do it over and over and over and over again. Just get used to it. So,
That's awesome. Fire, 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 fire. Man, as we start landing the plane, I'm curious, where do you see yourself in the next few years in terms of your leadership journey? I know you mentioned, I mean, you're going to be a father, right?
right.
You have things in the works already, as you mentioned earlier. But I'm curious, man, what do you see yourself as you talk about that vision? What does that vision look like in the next few years?
Um. Well, like I said, developing some property here in Utah. Not here in Utah, I'm in Sacramento, but in Utah right now. I see myself in commercial real estate and development. I see myself as a serial entrepreneur. I'm going to be that. I was that. I've been that for a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I invest in music. I invest in events, art. I'm an art connoisseur. You know,
Mm.
you know, you know, I'm in an investment right now. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys can see it, but I'm in an investment property of mine right now.
Mm.
You know, it to me, I see myself being a father, Nato.
Yeah.
I really, to be honest with you, I waited my whole life for that. And
That's awesome.
I could talk about all the different ways I'm going to provide for that kid or my kids. But the truth about it is, I see myself having financial freedom. I see myself not having to be somewhere I don't want to be. I see myself being able to go to like soccer games or baseball games
Mm-hmm.
or football games with my kids. And I see myself being there. That's something that my dad wasn't able to do for me. And I always told myself I would be that. And,
Yeah.
you know, and that's where I pretty much stand. I stand on,
Mm-hmm.
I worked so much earlier in my life to become who I am.
Yeah.
And now I just want my kids to see their dad, not have to go out and hustle, not
Yeah.
have to go out and take every engagement that they get or have.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to spend all my time away from the house because if
Yeah.
I don't secure that bag, you know,
Right.
that was something I saw my dad do my whole life. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for him laying the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my dad didn't have a dad, and he broke
Mm-hmm.
the generational curse for us and my family. And I believe, like I said, because of his example, I will be
Yeah.
in a place where I will be doing everything on purpose to do, nothing that I don't have to, you know. So
So awesome, man. So good. Man, we're gonna get into the last segment here. It's called the lightning round. These are
Okay.
questions that I did not share with you, so they
Okay.
are spontaneous questions. So the first thing that comes to your mind, you're just gonna respond. I think about 10 questions or so, and then we'll wrap it up, man. So you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready for the lightning round. Let's get it.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, easy one. Most recent place you have traveled to?
Ooh, Mexico. Ooh, right outside of Tulum. I mean, it was like, yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, Mexico.
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 Okay.
Definitely.
Artist or song that is currently on repeat?
Oh, well, it's unreleased. I can't even really say it. I kind of get the music that I listen to early because I'm
Uh-huh,
inside of the circle. I
uh-huh.
I, I have the creative responsibility of picking certain artists. Um, but I'll just say Luke Kane by Mission, for
Mhm,
the simple fact that, big
mhm.
not gonna do big things,
Yes, sir.
so that's big. That's big.
Hashtag trophy gang. All right,
Trophy
here we go.
gang, like I said, I can't even divulge
Yeah,
what's
right.
coming
They'll
right
get
now,
they'll get
but
it
it's
later. They'll
coming.
get that later.
It's
Yeah.
coming, and just know it's gonna be crazy. So,
All right. Next one. Something that most people wouldn't know about you.
uh, that I am a, I am a, I'm an art connoisseur. I don't know if people know that.
Mhm. I did not know that.
But I love art. Some of my closest friends are painters.
Mhm.
David Garibaldi, Brandon Alexander. Uh, uh, I don't know if you guys know who Bammer. He is a muralist. He was also a part of my youth ministry.
Dope.
As a younger kid, and just to see him
Mhm.
everywhere now and successful, selling paintings for $6,000 a painting, and
Sheesh.
so I was one of his earliest supporters, and like
Yeah.
I said, his youth pastor at the time. And so just to see him flourishing is a big thing for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's one thing I don't think people know is I'm an
Dope.
art kid. But I kind of probably got that from Jay-Z. I'm not saying it like I'm giving Jay-Z any credit,
Yeah.
but when
Yeah.
Basquiat's were being talked about and
Mm,
Picasso's were being talked about, and
mm.
really that whole culture or that
Yeah.
mentality, really,
Yeah.
that's when I got into it, and that's what I'm, a part of currently.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right. This next one may be easy or hard depending on how you take it.
Okay.
Favorite restaurant?
Oh, that's tough. Oh,
See, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was
because
gonna
you
be easy.
didn't give me you
Yeah, I
didn't
know
give me
exactly, exactly.
a
Look,
cuisine,
yeah,
or
yeah. Just
okay, wow.
right, top of the head, top of the head.
Oh God, no. I feel like I'm
All
gonna
right, here we
mess
go.
up.
I'm gonna narrow it down. Favorite restaurant in
Okay.
Sacramento.
Okay, Sacramento. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Um, wow. Let me not sound super bougie. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I don't do that. Because I kind of feel a little bougie with
Just
what
say
I'm
it,
getting
man.
ready to
Just say
say.
it. Just say it.
Um, because you know what, Nato, like my favorite place in Sacramento is called the Kitchen. The
Okay.
Kitchen is the only Michelin star restaurant in Sacramento that I
Okay.
am aware of. Um, it is an experience.
Mm,
It's a 6-course experience. Um, there's little side like oyster bars and
mm.
little like one bite, bars and things like that. Like it's a whole
Okay.
night. It's not a regular restaurant. It will take you 2 months to get into. Uh,
Okay.
you definitely should try it. I think at least once in your life, a birthday, uh,
Okay.
some milestone. Definitely go for it. It'll
There you
change your
go.
life. It'll change your life.
So we'll do part two at the kitchen. Got it.
I
Okay.
have to put it on the books.
Right.
Put it on the books.
All right. Let's keep it going. Most used emoji icon.
Probably fire.
Fire.
Probably fire. Because
Okay.
everybody around me, is just a star. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
If they're pastors or
Yeah.
artists or whatever.
Fire. Fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Person who inspires you the most.
Oh man. Uh, it was my grandfather.
Mm,
Is really my godfather. My dad we still don't know who my dad's biological father is. But his spiritual father
Yeah.
passed away last year,
Mm-hmm.
and is still one of my biggest inspirations to this day.
Awesome.
He was a revolutionary. He was, one of the biggest to ever do it. He represented for the Black culture in a major way, and taught and gave information when other people were trying to take things away from people. He was trying to give people things
Mm-hmm.
as far as information is concerned. And so I
Yeah.
feel like that he's one of my biggest. He's who actually created my dad,
Yeah.
and helped my dad to develop to who he is now. So, so I would say it's like, hey man, my pops is that,
Mm-hmm.
like Tom Brady, man, my dad, but for me, it's like, it's the man who taught my
Yeah.
dad.
Got you.
Yeah.
I got a couple more here. If your life was a mixtape, what would it be called?
Ooh, no ceilings.
Right
No
at the top.
ceilings.
No
What I mean,
ceilings.
oh man, anybody, period. Don't care what it is.
Right.
No feelings. That's one of my biggest. I mean, that's one of my statements. It's like a motto or a
Yep.
mantra of mine.
Yep.
It's like,
No ceilings.
there's no ceilings. There is no caps. There's no limits. There's no borders. There's no boundaries.
Yeah.
Just increase. So
Mm-hmm.
if you saw me today, just know that you missed out on who I was, but just know I'm more than what I used to be.
Woo.
So I just think of that all the time, man. Don't try to limit me. Don't box me. Don't put me in nothing that you can understand, because you will not be able to understand me, not fully. So
Fire emoji. Biggest lesson you learned in 2021?
Ooh, biggest lesson. Okay, so I can say this then. I learned that I am one of the if I could say it like this, I am one of the people that needed wow. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but more accountability.
Mm.
I know that doesn't wow, but more accountability.
That's right.
Um and not for what most people would think most
Mm-hmm.
people need accountability for. But for me, it was my first year of marriage, dude,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never had anybody this close to me in my whole life. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? I definitely, I hate to just say it like this, but I had been like a loner. Like
Mm-hmm.
I almost been a loner. Like, I've always had a lot of friends. I've always had a lot of people around me, but it was me most of
Mm-hmm.
the time by myself, going home and
Mm-hmm.
spending a lot of time with myself. So, when I realized that, um, my attitude needed
Yeah.
adjusting, how
Yeah.
I respond to certain things. If I have somebody around me, because I'm really one of those no nonsense people. So
Yeah.
if you ask the
Yeah.
wrong question, or if
Uh-huh.
you bring up a topic in discussion that I'm not necessarily feeling, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
think is at a certain maturity level, I
Mm-hmm.
might come at you a certain way, or attack you in a certain way. But
Uh-huh.
but I had to learn, like, your sarcasm and your
Mm-hmm.
quick wit and all of
Mm-hmm.
that can be,
Yeah.
terrifying or,
Yeah.
destructive to certain situations. And so
It's
that was
true.
where I needed more help with myself. I called it being funny. I grew up watching Will
Yeah.
Ferrell and
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey and
Yeah.
different ones. They were quick witted. It
Yeah.
was always this underneath the breath comment that came
Yep.
right after the conversation that was like, oh, he didn't say that.
Right.
That I kind of grew up idolizing. And so I didn't
Yeah.
realize that that
I
part
feel it.
of me
I
was
feel it.
needing to be,
Got you. Last but not least, as we always end the show, I want you to fill and complete this statement. Every leader needs
oh
what?
wow. Can I go off for like a second?
Go off, man.
Because Okay, because I have like all of this information that I would love to share with everybody
Yeah.
before I leave here today.
Yeah.
Um, I guess you got to ask me that question just one more time, and then I'm just gonna jump off the diving board, if
Yep.
you don't mind. Okay.
Every leader needs what?
Okay. Number one, you need vision. Number one, um, size your vision, share your vision, source your vision. Okay.
Mm,
Number one, uh, you need goals as a leader. You have to have them. If you're not setting goals, what are you doing? You know, I could say another little fun little statement, but what are you doing for real? Um, have an intense action orientation.
mm,
Be about that action. A person who actually acts on a thought is so much better than a person who's just still sitting there thinking about it.
mm.
Um, Plan it, do
Yep.
everything you need to do, and go after it. You
Yeah.
know, that waiting around part will have you waiting way too long. Um, be a strategist, be a planner, um, be courageous, inspire, motivate, be committed to winning, be an excellent communicator, um, give meaning and purpose to the work that you're
Hmm.
doing. Um, you know, build winning teams.
Yeah.
Be a person that knows how to build, you know, quality teams. That's something that people talk about me for is I know how to put certain things together and
Yeah.
just putting the right people in the right place. I mean, it'll make a major
Yeah.
difference in everything you're doing. Have an intense desire to lead. You know,
Mm,
what I did learn about leadership is just that some days your intensity kind of
hmm.
it diminishes. Know that there is somebody on your team who is qualified to take up that mantle and carry it while you're still restoring or recharging,
Yeah.
or reconfiguring things inside of you.
Hmm.
Know that sometimes there's a change of the guard.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to take the back seat as a leader.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I know some of the greatest leaders think that they lead from the front. I think some of the greatest leaders lead from the
From the
back.
back.
So just know that there can be a change of guard, but be okay with that. You built the team for that. Okay.
Hmm.
So have high self-esteem. That's one of my biggest things. Nobody can tell you how to feel about yourself but yourself. So
Hmm.
make sure you feel good about you every day. You okay? You know, yes, you made some mistakes here. Yeah, but today's a new day. Make sure you get up and know that there's another 24 hours to change every.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I could keep going, but I don't think you want to hear this. But I'm going to leave you with these
Yeah.
last three things, and I'm done. Command is another way of. Well, let me say it like this. I think there's three ways to lead. Okay, command, consensus, and consultation. Um, a command is a decision you make by yourself as a leader. You're saying do this. This is what I want.
Hmm.
A consultation is a decision where you ask people for their advice or their input
Hmm.
into that scenario or that situation. Um, uh, Consensus is a decision where you assign the decision to the group to be made, and you take yourself,
Mm.
remove
Those are good.
yourself from certain
Hmm.
things. John Maxwell says this in almost
Come on.
everything
Love
that you
Maxwell.
don't want to be an insecure leader. It's okay to be a leader that doesn't need to be needed.
Mm.
It's okay to know that you've built the strong structure and that they're going to do what they're there to do specifically, and you can remove yourself immediately and watch them succeed without you. Um,
Man.
please don't hold on to the mantle longer than you have to. Do not hold on to
Whew.
a position or title longer than you have to. Be a leader that can lead elsewhere too. So.
Wow. fire emoji all over the place right now, man. Just fire.
Stop it.
Man, Nehemiah, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and just sharing the knowledge and wisdom and experience, man. Just so excited to hear all the great things that you're doing and will be doing. And this just sounds like a part 2 in the future is gonna happen. So
Well,
so excited, man. And hopefully we can
on.
do it in person at the studio. But
right, we need that. Go ahead and put that on the calendar, because this was right. Too much distance.
This is the appetizer.
We need to be able
the appetizer at the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. This is the taste test.
Yeah. But appreciate everybody for tuning in. Catch
Appreciate
y'all
you
at the next episode of the Lead Up Podcast. Peace.
Yes, sir.